Welcome back to Poorly Educated Today in the News, where the world keeps trying to reopen for business, while everybody in charge acts like they found the instruction manual in a flooded tackle box. Today, we got a peace deal that sounds like a used car warranty, an AI power plant adopted by the Justice Department, a White House cage fight that nearly turned into a drone rodeo, spy law being traded like baseball cards, and the Fed staring at inflation like a possum under a porch light. Segment 1. Peace deal with a toll booth. The big story is the United States and Iran inching toward an interim peace agreement, which is fancy government talk for everybody put the missiles down for 60 days while the lawyers ruin lunch. The deal is supposed to reopen the Strait of Hormuz, ease the blockade on Iranian ports, and create a window to argue over nuclear enrichment, sanctions, and whether temporary means temporary, or just until the next press conference explodes. Oil prices dropped because markets heard peace and acted like gas pumps were about to start handing out coupons. But shipping is still moving slower than a tractor parade behind a funeral procession, because mine clearance, insurance, tanker schedules, and regional trust are not things you fix by yelling "open for business" into a microphone. And of course, Lebanon is sitting there like the loose wire under the dashboard. Iran wants Israel out of southern Lebanon before a bigger nuclear deal moves forward. Israel does not want to leave while Hezbollah is still a threat, and Washington is stuck holding a peace receipt that already has ketchup on it. President Donald Trump publicly griped about Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's campaign dragging on, which is not exactly a normal alliance moment. That is like your hunting buddy yelling at you from across the Walmart ammo aisle. The grounded point is simple. A ceasefire can calm oil markets, but it does not automatically solve the war logic underneath it. This thing is a peace deal with a toll booth, and somebody is already asking who gets to collect quarters. Segment 2. AI gets a gas-powered hall pass. Back home, the Justice Department jumped into the pollution lawsuit against Elon Musk's XAI like a referee suddenly deciding the billionaire also owns the whistle. The NAACP says XAI's gas turbines near its giant data center are pumping pollution into nearby communities without the proper Clean Air Act permits. Normally, that sounds like a court fight about emissions, health, and whether temporary turbine means temporary or we parked a power plant beside your lungs and called it innovation. But the government is arguing that shutting the thing down could threaten national security, energy security, economic security, and apparently the sacred American right to make a chatbot faster than a county fair rumor. That is where this gets bigger than one data center. The administration is basically saying AI infrastructure is so important that private environmental lawsuits might need to move aside, which sounds efficient until you realize move aside is usually what poor neighborhoods hear right before the smokestacks arrive. I get that AI needs electricity, but so does my refrigerator. And nobody gave me a constitutional shield when the light bill showed up, looking like it had been trained on greed. The real fight is whether the future gets built with public rules or whether powerful companies can slap national security on a generator and call it a bald eagle. If this argument wins, every dirty project in America is going to start wearing aviator sunglasses and humming the anthem. Segment 3. Birthday cage match meets drone panic. Then we got the alleged plot against the UFC Freedom 250 event on the White House South Lawn, because apparently this timeline looked at politics, combat sports, drones, and birthday parties, and said, blend until cursed. Federal prosecutors say 5 men planned a mass casualty attack using explosive drones to create panic and then sniper teams to target people as they fled. That is not just some basement tantrum. That is a tactical plan, borrowing from battlefield drone warfare and dragging it into Washington like a raccoon with roadkill at a wedding. The most chilling part is how ordinary the pipeline sounds. Social media contact, encrypted chats, gear stockpiling, maps, and a family member finally calling authorities. And here is the part that ought to make everybody sit up straight, even if your politics are held together with duct tape. Traditional security is built around fences, checkpoints, roofs, vehicles, and crowd control. But small drones turn the sky into a side door. You can put every magnetometer in the world around a lawn, but if a cheap flying blender with bad intentions shows up, the rulebook starts sweating through its suit. The successful stop matters, but so does the fact that one parent's tip appears to have done the job faster than $1 billion of acronym agencies. America keeps treating extremism like weather, but weather at least has the decency to show up on radar before it ruins your cookout. Segment 4. Spy tools and ballot tools. Meanwhile, the intelligence world is tangled up in a nomination fight that looks like somebody tried to assemble a government with leftover parts from a campaign bus. After Tulsi Gabbard moved toward leaving the Director of National Intelligence job, President Trump first pushed Bill Pult, a housing regulator with basically no intelligence background, then pivoted toward Jay Clayton, the former SEC chairman and federal prosecutor, then slowed that down while keeping Pult around. At the same time, Section 702 Surveillance Authority is caught in political crossfire, with lawmakers arguing over whether to renew a tool spy agencies say they need to watch foreign targets. That law is controversial for good reason, but tying it to unrelated political bills is like refusing to fix the barn roof until your cousin gets named parade marshal. And right beside that is the voting fight, where the administration's mail-in ballot order tries to put a federal citizenship verification list between voters, states, and the Postal Service. States are suing because elections are mostly run by states, not by one big federal clipboard wearing boots. Supporters call it election integrity, opponents call it a power grab, and local officials call it, please stop changing the whole machine right before we have to run it. The grounded point is not complicated. Whether it is surveillance or ballots, the machinery of democracy works only when people believe the rules are stable and not being swapped out like a tire on fire. Right now, the rulebook looks less like law and more like a Waffle House menu after a bar fight. Segment 5. Fed chair, food prices, and political megaphones. And while all that is happening, the Federal Reserve is sitting in the corner deciding whether to move interest rates, while households do kitchen table mathematics with the emotional range of a hostage negotiator. Kevin Warsh is now leading the Fed. Inflation is sticky. Energy prices just got yanked around by Middle East chaos, and Wall Street is watching for clues like a dog hearing a cheese wrapper. The Fed is expected to hold rates steady, but the real drama is in the projections, because one tiny dot on a chart can make investors panic like somebody shouted audit at a boat dealership. Warsh talks about strategic ambiguity, which sounds smart, but to regular people it means we are not telling you whether your credit card rate is about to bite harder. That is the whole American mood right now. Global peace might lower oil, AI might raise the power bill, spy fights might weaken security, voting fights might clog the courts, and the Fed might keep borrowing costs high because groceries still think they are luxury collectibles. Even Georgia's runoffs fit the picture. With massive money, Trump endorsements, Kemp machinery, and candidates proving democracy now comes with more attack ads than a late-night mattress sale. Politics is becoming a demolition derby where every driver claims they are restoring trust while backing over the mailbox. The punchline is that everybody keeps promising stability, but the country feels like a lawn chair strapped to a rocket. and the manual just says, "Good luck, cousin." In conclusion, today's news is one big lesson in how modern America handles crisis. Negotiate peace, monetize the panic, call the smoke national security, put drones in the sky, argue about ballots, then ask the Federal Reserve why eggs still cost like jewelry. Leaders are trying to manage wars, markets, lawsuits, elections, and technology all at once. And half of them look like they are using a gas station map from 1998. The world may be reopening, but the receipt is long, the fees are hidden, and somebody definitely charged us extra for emotional damage.